Yay, here we are, and welcome to the Spotlight. This is episode number 24. And as always, I'm sitting here at the Joint Boutique Hotels Cafe Rio. And today I am so excited. We're going to have an amazing guest. Her name is Angela Kelleher, and she's sitting right next to me. I might as well just show her to you. How are you today?
Very good, Paco. Thank you very much for having me on. This is great.
It is a pleasure to see you, and it is a pleasure to get to know you through the reaction that I have received when I posted the fact that you were coming online. Everybody loves you.
Well, I don't think everybody, but
Well, we have an audience today. And the audience loves you. Say hi to the audience. The audience loves you.
I love my audience.
I love the fact that you love your audience. So I know why you're here. Why don't we tell everybody why you're here?
Excellent. So I'm here to talk about a few things. And one of them, the most exciting, is our upcoming event on Tuesday. We are hosting a rabies vaccine training. So we're looking for volunteers, Mexican and expat, who are willing to take some training and get some identification issued and go around in their colonias and offer free rabies vaccines for cats and dogs.
And I go, because you waited to say cats and dogs until the very end.
Oh yeah, there is no vaccine for humans.
Let us quote the wonderful Maria from The Sound of Music. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
A very good place to start. You are the director or overseer of the Quale.
The Quale Spay and Neuter Clinics.
Okay.
So, Quale Spay and Neuter Clinics has been operating in Vallarta about 11 years, and I took over in November. And so far in 2024, we've sterilized almost 1,100 animals, which are dogs and cats. Quale Clinic normally used to happen once a month for 60 animals, and we have doubled or tripled our clinic capacity. So we're now sterilizing closer to 140 animals a month in 2 clinics, one in Infonavit and a second one here in Emiliana Zapata. We're a little different from the other clinics in that we focus on large groups of animals. So all of the other clinics limit each person to bringing only 2 animals because they want to serve as many people as they can. Our clinic happens in one day. It is very large for a single day clinic, and we allow people to bring as many animals as they want. We do it by appointment.
So this is very informative, and this is new knowledge for me. When I read Quale Neuter Spay Clinic, I thought you were focusing only on Quale animals, which I happen to know, and maybe the audience doesn't know, that the isla, the island,
Yes.
has had an ongoing challenge dealing with so many domestic animals that are just living in the wild. So you really work with animals.
We serve the whole city. Animals come from as far north and east as San Vicente, definitely Bucerias. From the south, animals come from Boca de Tamatlan. We have a woman who comes regularly from El Tuito and other smaller towns on the Abuelito down there. And then from all over Central Vallarta and Ixtapa, there's just so much demand for helping the animals. So some of the people that come to clinic have litters of puppies and litters of kittens. And they're getting ready to give them away because once they get to be about 6 weeks, you have to start feeding them, and there's a lot more cleaning, and it's time for them to go to a new home. And we ask people to just hang on 2 more weeks. At 8 weeks and 1 kilo, we will sterilize safely kittens and puppies
For free.
for free. And we'll do the whole litter and mama and dad, if you know who he is.
Now, let's backtrack for a second. tell me a little bit about how you got to Vallarta in the first place, and then how you chose to become involved in this very important pursuit.
So I came to Vallarta about 7 years ago, and Quali was the first clinic I participated in. So I came to Vallarta. I was an early retiree, so I had a little more energy. I was a bit younger than most retirees, and I had a bit of energy to do some stuff. My background is in teaching. I was a professor at UBC and BCIT. So I came and I wanted to do some volunteering. I thought that would be my jam, and I enjoy animals. So I got involved first with Quali clinics and then also with peace clinics. And I also volunteer at Colina. We all work together to try and help the animals. But what I found is the thing I enjoy the most about clinic are the people. I'm in it for the people, not so much the animals.
So let me get this clearly. I was going to say, let me get this straight, but that doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. You did something that I think is essential for any newcomer to this town. You arrived, you chose a place to volunteer,
Yeah.
and you found it, and you did it because of the people. How wonderful advice that is. I get, a lot of people ask me during my morning broadcast, how do I get to know more people in Puerto Vallarta? And I always say, pick something that you're passionate about and find volunteering opportunities.
Yeah, and I meet the best expat friends volunteering. I learn the most about Mexico volunteering with my animalista Mexican friends. It's a fabulous experience. So one of the things I'll mention, it's a little off track, is that I have a Facebook group called Vallarta Volunteers, and that's specifically to help people match up with a volunteer opportunity that might suit them.
Oh my goodness. Well, wait a second. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm going to go behind the scenes while you're talking to the audience. I want to find that Facebook page actually here. Let me find it with you.
So Vallarta Volunteers it's a public Facebook page. So if you post on there, and also if you see something interesting, it's very easy to share from. A lot of Facebook groups are private because it's harder to control. It's more important to control them. So you can share from Vallarta Volunteers if you're an organization needing volunteer help, and we do focus on nonprofits and not businesses. So if you're an organization needing help, or if you're a new arrival and you'd like some advice, you can post a bit about who you are, what you like to do, and our little hive mind will come in and give you some suggestions on what might be a good fit.
Well, let me give you a suggestion. I don't know if this is even possible. While you were explaining that, I went looking for the group and I found it. It is indeed called Vallarta Volunteers, but the group has a generic name. It's Vallarta, facebook.com/group/ and then a huge number.
Okay, I can change that.
So I wonder because I know that with pages, you can change that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it with groups. And for anyone that has your own Facebook group or your own Facebook page, it is so important to get your vanity URL, because then you can tell people, just go to facebook.com/groups/Vallarta Volunteers or something like that. So, but going back to what you were talking about, I think that's great. How many organizations are represented in this Facebook group?
There's probably 20 or 25, and there's a few that post on there a lot. I do limit it to volunteering. So despite me being an animal person, we don't post dogs that need a home, dogs that need a permanent adopter. We do occasionally post people needing fosters or needing flight angels. That's another great way to help. But it's for, to me, there's kind of three groups. You might want to volunteer with humans, you might want to volunteer with animals, or you might want to volunteer with the environment or nature, so gardening, for example.
So those are your three,
Those
first
to me are the
breakdowns.
three areas. Yeah, it's kind of an area. And so I do have a post in there about an overview of a bunch of organizations, but I'd love to add more. And I just visited yesterday. I went to see the Clínica Santa Bárbara.
Clínica Santa Bárbara, yes.
Thank you. The rehabilitation clinic, a rehab clinic. And I went and I talked with her about the work they do and what she might need for volunteers. Linda and I did a little shopping, and they could really use help in their little boutique to organize the clothes. They could use some painting, some gardening. So I'll make a post about this organization needing a little help. And there's so many condos out that way now, right? It's over near, I can't remember what they're called, but it's over near La Jolla, in behind La Jolla Hospital.
There you go.
Okay.
So I'm loving it because that means that if you want to volunteer, you want to, before you talk to her, before they talk to you, Angela, you got to pick plants, animals, or people.
Well, because I think people tend to have, they have a thing.
I love it. I never thought about that, but that's a great way to break it down.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to the meat and potatoes of your work with the neutering and all that stuff. Yeah. And I want to talk about something that, in my experience, can be a little complicated to manage. And it has to do with expectations. Different countries have different cultural ideas about how to keep animals, how to protect them, how to spay them, so forth and so on. And I'm not saying that one country is better than another. It's just that you go to different places around the world and things are handled differently. But where are you from? The United States? Canada. Coming from Canada, and for a lot of people who come from the United States, they can find it somewhat frustrating to find that the local culture towards animals is different.
Okay.
How do you manage that in a healthy fashion and without developing a serious drug habit?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to start from a position of respect and understanding what you know and what you don't know. And I used to kind of teach this stuff at college, so I have a bit of a background in it. Part of it depends on who you're hanging out with. So the animalistas that I'm working with that come to clinic and bring animals have a very similar outlook on animals to me. And lots of younger people seem to have a different idea about animal welfare and about spaying and neutering, etc. And we often talk about education, about wanting to educate. And that is a word to me that has a lot of baggage around it. It's like educating in a red pen to correct you if you're wrong and all that stuff. When I taught, I didn't use a red pen. I used a purple pen. It was more fun because it's not what I expected the answer, but it's just different. So you may want to meet the expectations if you want to get the degree. But so I think the way to think about it is that people are in a different position here, and they're often doing the best that they can with the resources they have and with the knowledge they have. So what I really try to do with all the stuff I do is enable other people. I'm like the last 5%. Someone's doing a project already. They're doing a great job of it, but they just need a little help. They need, maybe it's a little money, but usually not. It's a little connection to someone who can help them. It's whatever. So our animalistas that come, that bring and connect us with these litters of puppies, that do cat trapping, might talk about that later, that talk to all their neighbors and fill their vehicle with 10 to 15 crates of animals and bring them to our clinic. We have people, I was one, that regularly transport 10 or 15 animals. They're talking to lots of people in their neighborhood about sterilization, and especially the mamas don't want to be raising litters of babies in their house, so they tend to be quite interested. And then we have other ways that our animalistas can have a conversation with people. So we provide, for example, I don't know if you know what this is. This is called Ectoline, and it's a very cheap flea and tick preventative. It's not what many people from Canada and the US would use on their animals. Mm-hmm. You would be buying Frontline or Bravecto. Very expensive. We cannot afford that in Mexico. So Ectoline is put on the back of the neck and works for about a month and a lot of ticks and fleas. So I've started putting this in little pill bottles with a syringe with instructions, because it's an insecticide, it is a poison, with instructions, and our animalistas will go out and give this to people in their neighborhood, give this to their neighbors, and have a conversation about pet care, have a conversation about sterilizing, about putting a dog tag on your dog, right? With your phone number, about, animal care and how giving an animal food and water and shade and taking it for a walk, maybe. And this is not my agenda. This is the agenda of the animalistas that I'm helping, and that's how they manage their animals, and that's how they would like to see their peers doing this. So
before I lose track of things, I want to acknowledge Andrea Jackson. Andrea, thank you so much for adding a capital letter Q at the beginning of your question. This cues me to know that this is an important question for Angela. And the question is, what is the best way to volunteer at Quality Clinic? Do you need drivers, trapping at clinics? Do you need stuff?
Great question.
There you go. And before you answer, if anybody has a specific question, I see that there's a lot of love in your comments, but if you have a specific question that you want answered, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q like Andrea did. So what is the best way?
So what is it? We love all the volunteering and donations and physical donations, but I'm going to go back to money. We love some money. So let me tell you the money part first.
Money is important. Let's talk about money.
So we have negotiated, we are super low cost. We are incredibly efficient. Anyone who is interested in donating is welcome to come and have a little tour of clinic. It's an impressive operation. It costs us a little under $20 US an animal to sterilize. So that's about 350 pesos, or in Canadian, I'm Canadian, I should know, but call it 25, 26 Canadian. It's just the lowest cost in town. It's the lowest cost around. We have 4 vets and a vet tech operating. And what really helps us to be able to do more of these conversations and all the other ways we support, like Ectoline, like rabies vaccine clinics, et cetera, is to know that we have our basic clinic taken care of. We have one donor who has stepped forward and has sponsored 65 sterilizations a month. And that is what we were doing when I took over, and now we've doubled. So we need a sponsor for our Emiliana Zapata clinic, where we're sterilizing cats from the Isla Quale, where we're sterilizing for our neighbors that live here, that have litters of kittens, that are trapping the cats that are wandering the streets in 5th of December, Centro, Emiliana Zapata. So, we're always looking for donations.
So just to clarify, my currency for my morning show is coffee. Like, people buy me coffee, and that is my currency. Am I hearing that if somebody wants to donate, your currency is sterilizations? Like, you say, okay, this is how much each sterilization costs. How many of those are you willing to pitch in?
Yeah. Or, we'll accept any amount. Hey, we'll do a left testicle for $10, and then you get a friend to do the right testicle for another $10.
Well, that is so kinky. That is.
I thought you'd like that.
How do I recover from that one? Let me.
What we do.
Well, let's take a look at it.
Let's take a look at what, Paco? What do you want to see?
I want to see the answer to this question. How do I donate? Like, do you have a PayPal account? Do you have a this, that?
We do.
Yeah, let's bring this back.
On our website, we've got a QR code. We partner with an organization called Paws and Claws, so we can issue a U.S. tax receipt for large donations or small. You can donate through credit card. It's all on our website, on our Facebook page. So we should probably take a look at that.
Oh, segue.
Physical donations also on the Facebook page. We have a drop-off spot, and also they could come to me. And then for volunteers, she mentioned drivers. That's been a real. Everyone says there's so much clinic capacity in Vallarta. Why don't people go to clinics? Well, because it's really hard to get to clinic. We're also the only clinic that is only on Sunday. What's special about Sunday? So many people have the day off.
Yeah.
Right? And people will come, our Mexican neighbors will come and spend their family day at clinic. They'll bring the kids, they'll bring a little picnic, a couple chairs, and that's what they'll bring animals and sterilize them on their day off. But Sunday is more accessible. So transportation is really hard. We have a few people that have stepped up recently to help drive animals, and we crate them or we have them in cages, and so it's safe for everyone. And that's been a real help. We are looking for right now, some second shift volunteers for our Infonavi clinic, the first Sunday of the month. People that would come in at 11 or 12 and stay till close, till about 3 or 4. And it's a lot of dogs.
So you need volunteers for that clinic?
For that, yeah. We're fairly full. Emiliana Zapata, we kind of have covered. It's incredibly efficient. It's pretty impressive.
So if you need, here's a question for the audience. If what you're saying is you need volunteers, as you know, Coffee and Headlines, as in me, sometimes I go around and I take video of restaurants and venues and this, that, and the other. If you would like to see a clinic going on, I would love to do it. I would love to go and film. Just write the word clinic by itself in the comment, and that will snip, snip, snip. So I'm already taken care of. Thank you. I'll be so very happy to go and show people that they may want to volunteer, but they may be like, what the fuck is going on? What do I have to do? And it's important
well,
for
and here,
people to see.
It's actually good to know there's very little blood. There's a lot of urine, there is some feces, and there's occasional vomit, but there's very little blood. It's the blood that scares most people.
Interesting.
But really, that's not that much of a deal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, look at all the people that want me to go and visit one of your clinic. I love it. Let me take a look at another question before we take a look at your beautiful Facebook page. Let's see. We looked at that one. How do I donate? We looked at that one. Dale, hello, Dale. It's always great to bump into you. Dale asks, do the veterinarians receive a stipend? They are amazing the way they operate on the animals.
Dale came in and volunteered once, so she's seen it recently, and she was like, "Oh wow,
oh wow,
yeah." Our people think that vets might be volunteers, and they are not. They are highly specialized surgeons. They do one animal on average every 8 minutes, and that's fast.
Wow.
So when we get Canadian or American vets that want to volunteer with us, they don't know these methods. They're really fast, and fast helps because it means a little less anesthesia for the animals, so it makes it a bit safer, right? And it means also less bleeding. So the vets are professionals. They are expert surgeons. Some of them do this full-time all week, and some of them have other vet practices as well, because we have 4 vets. We pay them. We pay one price, a fixed price per animal, a little less. Sometimes we get a cat under, and we look, and it's already been sterilized.
Oh,
So
oops.
have you ever noticed cats with an ear clip?
Yes.
With a little tip off the ear. Do you know what that is?
Yes. No.
So when we sterilize a cat, we take a little clip off the ear so that other trappers know that cat has been sterilized.
Oh.
And it doesn't have to go through anesthesia again. Right?
And that's not painful for the cat.
They're already under. They use a clamp and just a little razor blade. They're already under anesthesia for the spay and neuter. So, yeah, and it doesn't even bleed much. Maybe there's a drop of blood because there's a clamp on it. The clamp is stopping the blood from flowing.
I want to go watch, but I'll wear a helmet just in case I pass out. Let's see. Jonathan asks, is Luna sterilized? A huevo. Obviously, Luna is sterilized. My kitty cat, my baby, is sterilized. She sterilized me, actually. We already answered that question about the stipend. Then we have all these people that want to see the filming. I want to go back to education and tell you how much I appreciate it. In fact, we're going to put it on the screen because your Facebook page is amazing. It has all this information in both languages, in English and Spanish. Like, check this out.
Well, that one's in English because we're putting it in Million de Plata.
But that,
It will be in Spanish.
that QR code there is what people would
Yes.
follow.
Yeah.
And
So what's on the screen now is the location where you can drop donations for us. So, and the clinic itself doesn't use much in the way of donations, but we have all of these wonderful animalistas. So we have given out collars and leashes and traps and crates and cages and carry bags and toys and grooming equipment and beds and towels and sheets, especially if you have kittens or puppies, you're going through a lot of those. So we distribute all these, and food, pet food. We help distribute those to our animalistas. So it's a really neat way as well for expats who don't speak Spanish or who don't know these animalistas because they don't come to clinic or do these things, right? We know them. I trust them. And I work very closely with my animalista partners to make sure that who we're working with is bona fide. You know, the money is going to the animals, that sort of thing.
And then you have all these wonderful announcements in Spanish.
Yes. So what that is, this is a really unique thing that we're doing because we can't serve everyone. So this is a compilation, and that's what a lot of these QR codes lead to, is a compilation of all the clinics that are coming up in the near future in Vallarta.
Mm-hmm.
So in this latest post, I did it this morning, and I counted up about 300 spots in the next 7 days where people could take animals to sterilize. And those are the posters that give you the information on where it is and what the hours are. And then in my post, I have a little description on where do you need to bring crates, where do you have to wait with your animals, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, all in Spanish.
I love it. You know, it's so nice to see a volunteering effort that is aimed at the general population.
Of course.
And is communicated in both languages. Because a lot of times, us Mexican nationals will have our best intention to get everybody involved, but we fail to communicate in English and vice versa. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have show and tell. You have more gadgets. I want to.
Well, there's a little more on the Facebook page.
Oh, you
Wanna
want
take a
more
look?
Facebook
Yeah.
page? Let's have more
Let's
Facebook
just take a look
page.
at a couple other things.
Give me 1 second and I'll put it up here. So we have more chingaderas here.
So this is a poster that we are going to plaster the city with en español. Why do you sterilize? Because cats are incredibly prolific in terms of how fast they can multiply. And here in Vallarta, cats face a lot of dangers from dogs primarily in poisoning, so they don't all make it. But if they did, it's crazy, the multiplier effect. They have multiple litters a year. They have a lot of cats in each litter. So we want to catch those sterilizations early. And so this poster has in orange that link to all the current clinics, not just Quali clinics, all the clinics, the 300 spaces. We're only doing about 60 in next week. All the others are other clinics. And then, of course, you can donate too.
That is so groovy.
And then what else do we have here? This is the rabies vaccine training, which I awkwardly led with.
Oh, that's right. We started talking about this. So tell me about that.
So this to me is another element that our animalistas and our expats can bring to the Mexican people. People love getting a free vaccine here. They really do. They love a free rabies vaccine.
I could use one.
There is none for humans.
Oh.
It's not safe for humans.
That is so
There's nothing you can do. But what you can do and what Salud, so Salud, if for our expat friends, is the Jalisco State Department of Health. And they operate a spay and neuter clinic 5 days a week. It's in my list.
Mhm.
And they also provide free rabies vaccines because that protects the people. So and if your dogs and your cats don't have rabies, there hasn't been a case of rabies in a dog in Mexico since 2006. There have been cats with rabies, and there definitely are wild animals with rabies. So we keep the vaccination rates up to try and protect everyone, right? So Salud provides free vaccines, but they have a staff of, I think, 3 people that do this. So I'm looking to train an army to learn how to put a vaccine. It's very easy. It's a small needle in the back of the neck and fill out the paperwork, and that's it. So I'm inviting people to come and do the training. So there's 3 simple steps. You come do the training with us, and then you take in your paperwork and your photos to get official ID, and you pick up that ID and the rabies vaccines, and off you go. And what I'd like to do is partner some of our expat trained official people with some of the Mexicans in their local community, and they can tell people, they can put up posters, they can get people to meet in the plaza for a couple of hours on probably a Sunday, because that's when people have time, right?
Mhm.
Everyone's working during
Yeah.
the week.
Yeah.
So we'll meet in the plaza and we can put vaccines on the dogs, and we can put Ectoline to protect from fleas and ticks, and we can talk about sterilizing. And, it takes multiple times of having these conversations and lots of gifts.
Can you show the turkey baster?
Oh, yeah. This is something not really for our Mexican friends. So I don't know if you can see this with the light.
Yes. Yeah,
Does anyone know what that is? Let's see if we have any answers.
there you go.
Anyone recognize what that is?
And it's not a turkey baster.
It's not a turkey baster. And it goes along with this, if anyone recognizes that. We're not getting any answers.
Well, it takes a few
Oh.
seconds. It takes a few seconds.
So this is a little side project I'm doing that is actually not so much for our Mexican animalista friends, but what it is I'm forgetting the word. A microchip. This is a microchip.
Oh my God.
You know how everyone's talking about CDC in the US having new rules for taking dogs into the US. And they came out with some crazy rules and then they backed off. And what's left in the rules now is you must have a microchip. It doesn't have to be an ISO 1. This is an ISO 1. You have to have a microchip that's readable in your animal. So this is a microchip and this is a reader. So we can confirm that it's working, right?
Not good for jealous husbands.
No, I think this would hurt on a human. We lost our nerves. But no, I don't think you can get it. We don't have enough loose skin. Well, actually, I do. So to enter the US now, there's only two things you need. You need a microchip, and you need, for dogs only, cats are fine. You need a microchip, and you have to fill out a form online. And it's only puppies over 6 months.
So
That's it.
time out. So all these people that have been angels,
Yes.
if you are a dog angel, bringing an animal back to the United States, you won't be able to do it if that animal is not
Yes.
microchipped.
The airline probably won't accept it, and you have to fill out a CDC form. So you, as a flight angel, you want to make sure that the rescue you're working with has done all this stuff correctly. And I work with a lot of the rescues, and they know this, they understand this, they've been practicing it. It's been in place since August 1st, so we've had a month of experience. But you definitely, and it's going to impact the people that don't know so much are the people that live here and just occasionally go up to the US.
Correct.
Or I'm Canadian. A lot of Canadians drive through the US, or maybe get a cheap flight and they change planes in the US. If you land in the US, you're going to need a microchip. So if you're in the US or Canada right now, I would encourage you to find a low-cost microchip clinic. Typically between $10 and $30 is what you'll pay through an SPCA or a city shelter, city pound, to get a microchip put on your dog. And that's going to be perfectly fine for what you need. And that should be, with the new rules, your only cost. So if you're up there now, I would get one now. If you're down here, the vets have them available, and I'm helping small shelters, small Mexican rescuers that find northern homes to put some microchips on as well.
You are absolutely awesome.
Well, no, it's a problem, and it's hard. It's not hard for it's hard for the shelters and the big rescuers to deal with, but these situations are complicated for the small guy who maybe sends 1 or 2 animals a year. So these are new rules, they're different. So I'm all about trying to help the smaller rescuers and the Mexican animalistas who don't have access necessarily, to your audience otherwise.
This is so wonderful. There's another question here that I don't want to ignore. Another one from Dale. Dale asks, can you tell us what are some of the duties of a volunteer on the day of the clinic?
Sure. So primarily we use volunteers for recovery. So when the animal comes out of surgery, they are unconscious and we need to monitor them carefully to make sure they wake up okay. So we take 3 sets of vitals, we do a temperature, we count the breathing every minute, and we count the number of heartbeats per minute. So you get a stethoscope. And we also check the bleeding, check that ear tip to make sure there's no excessive bleeding. While they're under and we got a little time, we often trim the nails a little bit if you have experience on that. We pick off ticks and fleas if they've got that going. And then we're doing a lot of stimulation, rubbing the animals. I always joke, it's what you would not do with a cat at home. Don't do this to a sleeping cat, but you're gonna take the cat and rub it and encourage the blood flow
Of course.
to help them wake up after anesthesia, right?
I want to be a rubber.
Fluffer, we call them fluffers. Well, you could be a rubber too, but fluffers that have fluffers.
You know, we gotta go out and cocktail sometime. You know, I am scared of you sober.
So that's primarily what our volunteers do. If we have Spanish-speaking volunteers, we'd love to get your help on registration and pickup, giving people instructions on post-op care. That's what we do.
I'm sorry, you lost me on
I
fluffer.
lost you on fluffer.
Okay, before we do a demonstration, because we're going to have a demonstration, I want to give everyone a little reminder of the fact that I have a music appreciation presentation tomorrow. And I have 3 great music appreciation presentations this month, all having to do with the music of Mexico. Take a look at this while we set up our demo.
September is Mexican Independence Month, and here at Paco Ojeda on Music, we've decided to dedicate our 3 music appreciation presentations of the month to Mexico. We begin with Mexico's soulful storytellers on September 5th, where we will explore the lives and legacies of 5 influential Mexican traditional songwriters: Agustín Lara, Consuelo Velázquez, Armando Manzanero, José Alfredo Jiménez, and Juan Gabriel. Viva Mexico on September 12th will feature some of our country's most iconic music as it relates to this very special time of the year. In addition, we will share short stories that will hopefully provide a deeper appreciation of what makes our country so special. Finally, on September 26, Great Mexican Songs Volume 2 will offer valuable insights on a new selection of popular Mexican songs you may have heard before, along with others considered essential listening for us Mexicans. Celebrate Mexico's independence by celebrating our music. And be sure to follow our Facebook page for more details about these events.
Okay, da-da-da. I'm sitting here and we are looking at
Cat trap.
this is a cat trap.
En español es un trampa.
Una trampa.
Trampa.
So this is what you use. I'm sorry, we're projecting because the microphone is all the way over there. This is what you use to capture stray cats.
If we have to, we'd rather not use it, to be honest. The best thing to do, so many people have cats in their neighborhood, and if you can feed that cat regularly, usually in the evening, same time every day, you can get to know the cat and eventually be able to pick it up and put it in a plastic crate without the drama you're about to see. Because it's dramatic.
I know.
Maybe shocked.
We did a test run and I was mildly traumatized.
So the best thing to do, regular feeding, and if you can do handling, you can put them in a crate. I lend crates, I lend traps. We have 5 of these that we loan out. I've got lots of quick carriers that I loan out as well that you can put an animal into to transport or to keep overnight, the night before, the night after. This is a trap. So for animals that are hard to get, you still want to do that feeding, same time, probably in the evening, every day for a while. And then maybe skip a day, and then the next day they're going to come and get their food in the trap. And sometimes we trap train as well. We get the animal used to eating the food in the trap. So,
okay, so how does it work?
How does it work? So there's a door here that has a bunch of safeguards so the cat can't just climb out, right?
And my traps are all labeled with 4 easy steps. First step, there's a number 1 here, you lift the latch. Second step, there's a number right here, you push the lock. Third step, number right here, you lift this up. And then the 4th step is kind of the tricky one. There's a little latch here on this side that needs to hook under the
Chingadera.
chingadera. Yeah.
Under the chingadera. I love it.
It needs to be flat. There we go. So that's the set trap.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there you go.
You open it up, you set it up like that. You take your cat food and you put it past this metal plate.
I can help. I can help.
Don't hit the metal plate.
I will.
Thank you, long arms. Long arms help with this.
Okay, so that napkin represents delicious cat food.
Tuna is mostly what I use. I use the greasy tuna and I put a little trail of tuna on here too outside to lead them right into the tuna. And I would cover this with a sheet. Cats love tiny holes, right? So there's our dog-looking cat.
It's a cat. It really is a cat.
He's gonna go in there, and then if you can see, there's a metal plate here.
And he's gonna sit on the middle plate.
Everyone cover their ears. That's pretty close. So we do try and avoid that. If you can pick the cat up, it's gonna be much happier. And then it's closed, and there's a little drama, but then again, you cover it with a sheet. These animals don't need to see anything. In the clinic, they don't need to see anything. They're much calmer. It's amazing. You have a dog barking, you have a cat howling, you cover it with a sheet light so they can breathe, and things become so much calmer. So
Okay,
that is a trap cat.
let's go back. Let's go back and wrap it up. That was so much fun. We never had a demo
Well,
before.
next time you're gonna do it yourself.
That's terrifying. Have we missed anything? I want to make sure that we don't have any last minute questions, but have I failed to ask you anything? Is there anything else that is important for you to convey?
I think we've hit the hot spots. All these other little things, all things like these trackers and the blending the traps and everything else. It's only possible because of our donors. Because if I have to spend a lot of time chasing money to do the basic sterilizations, we can't do the extra. And sterilizations are good. I think to me, it's like an investment in our community. Working with people to help them sterilize and have fewer animals in the streets. I hate when I see kids playing and there's cat poop and dog poop right there. That just worries me so much for the health of people. And I'd like to see a lot fewer animals. I'd like to see, the caring that comes, that children learn when they look after a pet. That's wonderful training for becoming an adult and having children and having friends and having a community. And so if we have fewer pets, then people can do that, right? People can really learn and demonstrate more caring rather than just being hassled. So please consider if you're making donations, if you want to help our animalistas who are incredibly hardworking and very resourceful, please consider get in touch with me and I can tell you more.
Angela, I cannot thank you enough for this wealth of information. Andrea is asking, is all this information on the Facebook page? And something tells me that it is.
Oh yeah, I was busy this morning. Lots of updates. So
It has-
Quality Clinic.
It has been such a joy to converse with you, and I certainly hope that you folks out there have enjoyed this conversation. As you know, we're trying to reach out to as many movers and shakers in this town so that we can connect with what they're doing. So if you know of anyone that would be a good candidate for stepping onto the spotlight, it would be a pleasure. If you can think of anybody from event organizers, volunteers, nonprofit organizers, anyone that is contributing to the quality of life for us English-speaking locals, please get in touch with me. And if they're not English-speaking locals, we can translate on the fly. If you know of a great restaurateur or a great organizer that doesn't speak English, that needs to get the word out there, the spotlight is the way and the place to do it. So Angela, thank you so much again. And I will definitely be in touch with you so that I can come to one
do a
of your
video.
clinics and do a little video.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your time, and I'm delighted to have this chance.
Excellent. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning for Coffee and Headlines, tomorrow afternoon for Music Appreciation, and next Wednesday for the next Spotlight. Thank you very much.